First, one of Australia's leading sporting clubs has announced it will abandon Welcome to Country ceremonies before games. NRL club the Melbourne Storm has confirmed the decision in a statement saying, "We're really keen to let our actions rather than our words reflect what we stand for."
Yeah, the move comes after a number of controversial Welcome to Country ceremonies this year that were more, preachy than welcoming, like this infamous effort at an AFL semi-final in September.
A welcome to country is not a welcome to Australia. Within Australia we have many Aboriginal lands and we refer to our lands as country. A welcome to country is not a ceremony that we've invented to cater for white people. It's a ceremony we've been doing for 250,000 years plus BC, and the BC stands for before Cook. Prior to colonisation, you could get yourself into a lot of trouble for walking on someone else's lands without being welcomed onto those lands.
I was at that game of football and I can tell you most of the crowd were not amused. There's a growing momentum now in favour of unity and against dividing the country up. You remember a couple of weeks ago, Aboriginal elders in the Burdekin said, "We don't want Welcome to Country anymore. It's embarrassing." Just the other week, we had the Geelong Council vote to reinstate Australia Day in Geelong. We've had Peter Dutton now say he wants one flag for the country, not three. And now Melbourne Storm saying, look, we want to do practical things to help Indigenous people. They've got a number of social programs, but Welcome to Country never helped a single Aboriginal child to get an education, never helped a woman to be safe. Welcome to Country is something that's become ubiquitous but meaningless, and I think this is a really good move. I just pray the AFL pay attention, because the AFL could do with a bit of waking up.
Absolutely. This is fantastic news by the Melbourne Storm, and I've always said, James, it actually just starts with one organisation going big, going bold and saying enough is enough, because when you've got one, then it becomes a follow-on effect. Others go, OK, because right now we have a situation where, let's be honest, we just sit there. We hear it all the time. Welcome here, welcome there. And you're just sitting there politely, you're listening to it. But you're not really listening to it. You don't really care about the words of it. You're not intently taking in the words, because they've become completely meaningless, James, because we hear it over and over again. The reality is that this decision by Melbourne Storm shouldn't actually shock anyone when 60% of us voted no last year to this sort of division. And I've got to say, I feel like the conversation has really been kick-started or moved along by Peter Dutton, as you mentioned, that decision the other day to say, if I win, I'm standing in front of one flag, the Australian flag, not three flags. And it's the Trump effect as well. We saw it in the US, and I don't know, I'm optimistic, James. I feel like maybe there's a change in the air. I hope so.
When this whole Welcome to Country started, I was part of an organisation that really wanted to do it as part of a big conference they were holding. And I said don't, for two reasons. Number one, it's meaningless. And number two, once you start, you'll have to do it every single year. Otherwise, if you stop, you'll be branded as racist. They went ahead and did it, and because they wanted to show that they cared, they wanted to be inclusive. But then after a number of years, then it became, instead of a ceremony, it became a video that was showed. Then it wasn't showed during the conference, it was showed sort of in the preamble to the conference. And you see that everywhere in society. You have supermarkets that play a recording of acknowledgement of country. How respectful is it when it's literally a recording that no one is paying attention to? It's actually become quite counterproductive, because it doesn't build respect. It builds division. It doesn't do anything to help Indigenous people. Let's get back to practical solutions rather than political correctness, nice fancy statements that don't make a difference to Indigenous people but make white people feel somehow virtuous.
But they're getting more, they're just getting more ridiculous. We had that 9-minute record one, Welcome to Country, at a war memorial a couple of weeks ago, James. And then the one that we've just showed our viewers then, where this man said it's been around for 250,000 years plus BC. Well, what an extraordinary lifespan of the Welcome to Country ceremonies, which only started probably about 20, 30 years ago.
I think we owe them a vote of thanks for doing that, because they helped to put a nail in the coffin of Welcome to Country.
But what it's become is it's actually a cash cow, because you've got councils around the country. They're forking out hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to pay for it. So this incredible ceremony that was invented by Ernie Dingo, 20, 30 years ago, is now a cash cow.
Yeah,
so,
and if you're getting paid $500-700 per welcome to country and you do a couple of those a week, not a bad gig.
You're in business.
That's the other irony, though, of course, right? It's a welcome, but we'll welcome you, but it'll cost you $700.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Understand that.
It's a rort. It's a complete rort.
Seems
it's just
to be
ridiculous.